Okay guys, jumping right in. I'm starting with freshly washed hair. I'm using extreme gel, of course. I did not use rubber bands, but if you want to, that's fine. I have a rat tail comb and an edge brush. If you choose to add hair, I had some crochet Freacher's water wave braid hair that I had, but I end up not using it. So what I'm doing right now, guys, I'm just kind of mock parting my hair to figure out how big my Bantu knots are going to be. If you want to, you can go ahead and make this the official Bantu knot style. You don't have to mock or kind of do a preview like I'm doing. I'm just trying to make sure that A, the shampoo is out of my hair, and B, that the sections that I'm going to do are even on both sides enough where I have enough hair to do the Bantu knot so it doesn't look so uneven. Now this particular method, I am not doing a any particular style in terms of parting. I'm just doing what works for my face, if that makes sense. So I'm parting as if these knots are going to shape my face, essentially. So if you want to do smaller parts, you can. You don't necessarily have to. I'm just doing it, like I said, just to get an idea of what my knots will look like. So being that I have thicker hair, guys, like I said, if you want to use rubber bands, you can. I just ended up not using them unintentionally. Like I wanted to use them so they would be really clean, but it just made it more natural without the rubber bands. But if you need them, feel free to use them. So as you can see, guys, I've already started on 2. I part going across my face so I can get somewhat similar to the other side of my head. But yeah, I am just literally going with the flow with these knots. I don't necessarily wait, is that no? Okay, leave-in conditioner, guys, sorry. I am trying to make sure that all of my hair, like I said earlier, is kind of synonymous with the other side. Not necessarily the same amount of hair, don't really care about that. I just want to make sure that on each side I have one that is right mirroring directly on the other side. With the Bantu knot part, guys, in terms of actually forming the knot, it was easy for me at first until I got to the back. But I literally twist in the way that is not hurting my hair or going in the opposite direction of where my hair would normally flow. So in this case, I'm going clockwise. Yes, I am twisting clockwise on the front. Well, yeah, obviously. But guys, sometimes you have to formulate a knot that is going the opposite direction in order to get them to stand up straight. And this is what happens when you have very thick hair, guys. It's very important to have all of the arm strength that you can develop, because Bantu knots can be very tiring, especially if they're laying a weird way and you have to redo them more than one time like I'm doing. And I'm obviously going in the opposite direction that my hair would normally go, but it's because I want my Bantu knot to stand up or sit up straight. So we have done the first 4. Keep in mind, guys, I am mocking or doing like a mock trial of what I want these Bantu knots to look like. So this is not the final draft. This is the rough draft. But I noticed that my life seems to be easier when I part my hair down the middle or do it section by section. So that's what I'm trying to do, guys. Keep in mind, y'all know I don't use combs for real. So I am finger parting my hair. It may be easier for you to detangle first. I chose not to detangle because, of course, this style only lasted a smooth 48 hours. But I am going to section off the very bottom of my hair and work on this middle section. All right, guys, keep in mind, like I said, if you want very neat and clean parts, you can always use your rat tail comb here and build straight parts. I really wanted my parts as natural as possible, because I find that when I do very, very fine parts, my head hurts and my scalp is really tight because I'm trying to gather strands that may not be comfortable in that section, if that makes sense. So with this middle section, guys, it's all about which direction the knot is going, because obviously you see me struggle, but it's also how you lay your head, if that makes sense, so that the knot is laying in a way where you can twist around it. I know that probably sounds like organic chemistry, but hear me out. If you do it with your face sitting upright, it'll probably lay, but not how you want it to. So I found that me laying on whatever side that is comfortable for the knot to sit while you're twisting makes it a little bit easier. So you'll see me kind of unravel. Once again, I'm trying to make sure that I have enough hair in each knot, so that it's not one huge knot and then a baby knot. Y'all, keep in mind, this style takes a lot of arm work, or maybe it doesn't and I'm just overweight and tired, but it is just a lot easier for me to lay or lean my face over so that the knot can sit up right, if that makes sense. And this second knot did a lot better than the first, but here is a key tip. Anytime you're doing a Bantu knot, it is always best to knot or twist all the way down, or at least about an inch away from the ends, so that it forms a perfect kind of honeybee sort of swirl, instead of having this big bulgy looking knot and then they kind of unravel as you finish because it's not all the way twisted down. So that's my tip to you guys. Make sure your ends are as straight as possible so it can really tuck under the Bantu knot. And then once you get that first crease or that first dent to start your Bantu knot, go ahead, if you need to do like I'm doing and kind of put your hand on the rest of the knot to twist all the way, do so, because otherwise you have this like funky looking curl or funky looking twist, and it causes your Bantu knot to look very weird as opposed to the other perfectly formed knots. So what I'm going to do now is finish the other 2 knots, and then we're going to start the back, and then I'm actually going to take these down and start to grease and truly put them in their place, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'm doing the other side, guys. Listen, this is my dominant side because I am a lefty, so it is a little difficult to do this side. I would recommend doing the side that you know how to do first, and then doing the side that struggles last, so you have more time. Super side note, if you guys are like me and get lazy and just stop, you can always put the remaining hair in a ponytail and rock it just like that. Just saying. Okay, so before we start the bottom portion of my hair, I'm going to turn around so you guys can see what my hair looks like. Keep in mind, I can't see the back of my head and I don't want my parts to be perfect, so this is fine for me. This is also a rough draft, so I am going to finish up the rest of my hair for right now, and then we're going to jump into actually styling, gelling, molding, and adding a little bit of fun. So guys, this is what the final look looks like. Keep in mind, this is the rough draft, so we are going to actually take this down, add gel, brush, all that good stuff, but I wanted to give you guys an idea of what it looks like before we get started. So I forgot to mention, that was Jamaican black castor oil that I'm adding to my hair to give it a little more shine, and of course to moisturize, since I did wash my hair and condition. I am not using rubber bands, guys. I've just decided that I don't want to be popped a million times, and I really feel like they wouldn't last. So I just chose not to do the rubber bands. But trust me, if you feel like that's not you, go ahead and do them. But as you can see, guys, I'm getting through this a little bit faster because my hair is already kind of conditioned to twist, which is why I recommend, especially if you have thicker hair, to go ahead and do a rough draft for your hair, so your hair gets used to being twisted. I feel like with thicker hair, you just have to do that and kind of train your hair to be in a knot so it won't unravel. And then once you do it twice, by that second time, your hair is already kind of positioned like it's supposed to be, which means that it's probably going to give you a tighter Bantu knot the second time around, especially if you add a little bit of product to it, but not too much to make it very dense or heavy. But the Jamaican black castor oil is heavy enough to add the needed nutrients that I need for my hair, but it's not heavy to where my Bantu knots are flattening, if that makes sense. So for my thicker hair girls, I find that doing the rough draft or like a mock-up of what you're going to do first helps your hair to kind of already be in twist position, so that when you do it again and add product, or if you just do it again just to correct your spacing, it's a little bit easier and it makes it a little bit faster to actually do. Okay guys, so if you see me taking down some of these knots, it's either because I have a lot of space or air in between where my hair is and where the knot starts, or because the knot is not as tight as I want it to be, or it's not stacking like I want it to be, especially on the other side. So you'll see me kind of stopping as I rotate my knot to twist it a little bit tighter, just to make sure that when I wrap it under the hair, that it's not bulking up like I discussed earlier. Now on the sides, honestly, I did take a little bit more time on the sides because I had to include my sideburns, my baby hairs, and kind of comb the outer part of the Bantu knot to make sure it was as flat as possible. I did add just a little bit more product on the sides because I wanted them to be as clean as possible. Okay guys, so as you can see, I'm struggling a little bit on this Bantu knot, only because, like I said, my face position means everything when it comes to my side Bantu knots and the back. Because it depends on how I'm leaning, the Bantu knot will sit up right where I can go ahead and do exactly what I'm doing. Otherwise, it is a disaster. And I noticed that since one side looks good, I have to do the other side the exact same way. So that's what I'm doing, guys. I'm adding gel to my baby hairs, my sideburns, and the complete outside of my hair, just to make sure that it lays as flat as possible, or at least as I want it to be. And then I'm going to redo this side. Okay, so as you can see, I was struggling on this side because, again, this side has to be like the other side, and I'm trying to figure out which way to turn the knot in order for it to sit up right. It looks like I'm twisting fine, but the problem is my hair is a little bit more fine on this side, so it allows it to lay not necessarily straight up, but literally lay flat, which is not what I want. But eventually I just give up. So that's my tip to you guys. Do the opposite direction on your sides if you want them to stand up as any other knot would. Okay guys, so I had to grab my mirror just so I could see the top of my head, because I normally look at my iPad camera, but it's hard for me to do that with the middle of my head because I have to bend my face essentially. But for this middle Bantu knot, guys, as you can see, I have to like double twist because my hair is the thickest in the middle. So I am literally forming a Bantu knot because it wouldn't normally do so, but because my hair is a little thicker, I have to kind of play with it a little bit more. I'm adding a little of that Got To Be Freeze spray on my edges so that I can you know, formulate some sort of an edge or make some little swirl so that it's cute. It never seems to happen. So I don't know why I do it. It never happens, like never. But I figure I at least try anyway. So once again, I'm not pleased with this middle knot, so I'm just twisting the bottom half again and just tucking it that way it can stand. And as you can see, that already looks 10 times better. All right, time to play. Yes, guys, I got this ribbon from the dollar store thinking that I could actually put this around the Bantu knots and make it, you know, Christmassy and festive. But it ended up being too thick and I didn't want to cut it because I didn't know if it was going to unravel or completely mess up the look. So I chose to do something a little different, and I'm going to show you guys what the ribbon is again. So you guys have an idea. This is actually what I decided to do. So the ribbon had a little glitter in it, and I figured I want to use the glitter but not the ribbon. So I am literally shaking the glitter that I get from this ribbon onto my hair. Please keep in mind, guys, if you want to keep this for a long time, it works. The glitter comes right off. And what I'm doing now is just adding an extra hold with the freeze spray onto my knots so that they do not A, unravel, and B, become really frizzy. But the real reason I'm adding this freeze spray is to make sure the glitter that I have does not move. I want it to stay in place and become super cute. So yeah, that's my little holiday treat for you guys. Add the glitter. And this is what it looks like the next day, guys. But I figured, why not take it to the next level, right? Because the glitter is cute, but let's add some crochet hair around these Bantu knots to give it a little flair, right? So what I'm doing is I have 5 pieces of hair that I take from each pack, and I use, I think, 4.5, and I'm gonna kind of separate these hair pieces so that it gives me one big piece. And what I'm gonna do is add the hair around the Bantu knot. So essentially, if you watch my scissor inspired look, it's the same thing except all around my head. So I'm gonna give you guys this visual, and just literally wrap your hair, wrap the crochet braiding hair around the Bantu knot. Now, if your Bantu knots are strong enough, you may not need a bow or like a rubber band to keep them in place. If you feel like they need a little bit more security, feel free to add a bow before you go on and wrap this hair around your Bantu knot. I will say, it takes like a little bit more time because you literally have to place it in a way where it's not kind of limping over, but it stands firm. So this is what one knot looks like, guys. I'm gonna give you about, I think, 3 or 4 more, and then I'll tell you what happens as we get further along in this hairstyle. So if you want a curly type of vibe for your Bantu knots, then the water wave free twist hair is probably the best to use. Once again, I'm taking 5 pieces, 5 or 4 pieces, doesn't really matter, separating them, and then taking the end piece of that hair and wrapping it under the Bantu knot so it is secure, and then wrapping the remaining hair in the opposite direction. So I'm going to give you guys a brief look at what that looks like now. So guys, I would recommend cutting with some scissors the length that you would want to wrap your hair around, because otherwise you'll be wrapping for a long time, and you don't necessarily need the entire strand in order for it to look full. So if you have scissors, definitely cut these pieces in half, because that'll cut your time in half. Of course, I didn't realize this until after the fact, but you can definitely make 1 strand, 2 strands, and still get a full looking Bantu knot. But of course, I chose to wear these pieces as they came, and my arms are tired because of it. So definitely cut these pieces in half. That's my tip to you all. And at this moment, guys, I realized I don't like this. I don't like it. Nope, don't like it. Yeah, guys, tried to continue on, but I just did not like it. So this is me taking it down, because I honestly think Kanekalon braiding hair will look better with this look, just because of how my hair is set up, and this curly shiny hair really wasn't the vibe that I was going for, but it was the hair I had. But anywho, I'm gonna show you guys my hair. I ended up just redoing the Bantu knots that I had in my hair, and I'm gonna give you guys a final look. If you have made it to this point, thank you so much for watching. I hope I helped you guys, and please feel free to comment below, like this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.